Welcome to What Happened This Week, a video series where we take a look back at some of the main events from history. What were those events? Who were the main characters? When did this all happen? Let's find out. October the 25th, 1415, the Battle of Agincourt. Henry V's forces defeat a larger French army after the longbow defeats the armoured knight. The Battle of Agincourt was an English victory in the 100 Years' War. It took place on October the 25th in 1415, near Agincourt, in northern France. The unexpected English victory against the numerically superior French army boosted English morale and prestige, crippled the French, and started a new period of English dominance in the war. King Henry V of England led his troops into battle and participated in hand-to-hand fighting. King Charles VI of France did not command the French army as he suffered a psychotic illness and associated mental incapacity. The French were commanded by Constable Charles d'Albret and various prominent French noblemen of the Almanac party. This battle was notable for the use of English longbow in very large numbers, with the English and Welsh archers comprising nearly 80% of Henry's army. The Battle of Agincourt is one of England's most celebrated victories and was one of the most important English triumphs in the 100 Years' War, along with the Battle of Crécy in 1346 and the Battle of Poitiers in 1356. 1854, the infamous charge of the Light Brigade during the Battle of Balaclava in the Crimean War results in over 100 killed. The charge of the Light Brigade was a failed military action involving the British Light Cavalry led by Lord Cardigan against Russian forces during the Battle of Balaclava on the 25th of October in 1854 in the Crimean War. Lord Raglan had intended to send the Light Brigade to prevent the Russians from removing captured guns from overrun Turkish positions, a task for which the Light Cavalry were well suited. However, there was miscommunication in the chain of command, and the Light Brigade was instead sent on a frontal assault against a different artillery battery, one well prepared with excellent fields of defensive fire. The Light Brigade reached the battery under withering direct fire and scattered some of the gunners, but they were forced to retreat immediately, and the assault ended with very high British casualties and no decisive gains. Happy birthday to Katy Perry at 36 years old, and October the 25th in 1881 we also saw the birth of Pablo Picasso. Today also marks the death of Geoffrey Chaucer, who died in 1400, and King George II of England, who died in 1760. October the 26th. In 1863, the international conference begins in Geneva aimed at improving medical conditions on battlegrounds. This was the beginning of the Red Cross. In 1977, the last natural case of smallpox was discovered at Mercer district in Somalia, considered to be the anniversary of the eradication of smallpox, the most spectacular success of vaccination. In 1984, The Terminator, directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton, is released in the US. And in 2019, a raid by the US Special Forces kills ISIS founder Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in Syria. October the 26th also marks the 71st birthday of Hillary Clinton, and also marks the death of Alfred the Great in 900. October the 27th. In 1795, Pinckney's Treaty, or the Treaty of San Lorenzo, was signed by Spain and the US, establishing a southern boundary of the US and giving Americans the right to navigate the Mississippi River. In 1962, Black Saturday, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, an American spy plane is shot down over Cuba and the Navy drops warning depth charges on Soviet submarines. In 1982, China announces its population has reached 1 billion plus people. Today also marks the birthday of Captain James Cook, who was born in 1728. Cook explored thousands of miles across largely uncharted areas of the globe, surveying, recording and naming features for the first time. This included large parts of the Pacific, Australia and New Zealand. He died in 1779 in a fight with the people of Hawaii. Today also marks the death of Ivan the Great, who died in 1505. Ivan the Great was the Grand Prince of Moscow and Grand Prince of all Rus. Sometimes referred to as the gatherer of Russian lands, he tripled the territory in his state, ended the dominance of the Golden Horde over the Rus, renovated the Moscow Kremlin, and laid the foundations of the Russian state. He was one of the longest reigning Russian rulers in history. October the 28th. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sights Cuba and claims it for Spain under the name Juana. In 1538, the first university in the world, the Universidad Santo Tomás de Aquino, is established on Hispaniola. In 1904, St. Louis police try a new investigation method, fingerprints. Today marks the birthday of Bill Gates at 65 years old, and also Joaquin Phoenix, who is now 46. October the 29th. In 1929, Black Tuesday, Wall Street stock market crashes, triggering the Great Depression. I am currently putting together a more detailed video discussing the reasons and effects of this stock market crash, along with other significant stock market events throughout history. So if you're interested in stocks and investing, please subscribe and look out for that. In 1960, Cassius Clay, who went on to change his name to Muhammad Ali, had his first professional fight, beating Tony Hansacker on points in 6 rounds in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2015, China announces the end of their one-child policy after 35 years. Today also marks the birthday of Joseph Goebbels, who was born in 1897, although personally I'm not going to celebrate that one. And today also marks the death by beheading of Walter Raleigh in 1618. A favourite of Queen Elizabeth I, Walter Raleigh was distrusted by Elizabeth's successor, King James I, who eventually had him tried for treason and beheaded. October 30th. In 1973, the Bosphorus Bridge in Istanbul, Turkey is completed, connecting the continents of Europe and Asia over the Bosphorus for the first time. In 1974, the Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali KOs George Foreman in the 8th round in Zaire and regains the world heavyweight boxing title with the famous rope-a-dope tactic. Personally, I believe this to be one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time. Today marks the birthday of John Adams, who was born in 1735. Adams was a leading advocate of the American independence from Great Britain and one of the country's founding fathers. During the Revolution, he played a leading role in persuading Congress to declare independence. He served as first Vice President of the United States from 1789 to 1797 under George Washington, and then succeeded him by becoming the second President of the United States from 1797 to 1801. He died in 1826. Today also marks the birthday of Christopher Columbus, who was born in 1451. October 31st, Happy Halloween. In 1918, Spanish flu kills 21,000 people in the US in a single week. The Spanish flu was an exceptionally deadly global influenza pandemic caused by the H1N1 influenza A virus. The earliest documented case was March 1918 in Kansas, United States, with further cases recorded in France, Germany and the United Kingdom in April. 2 years later, nearly a third of the global population, or an estimated 500 million people, had been infected in 4 successive waves. Estimates of deaths range from 17 million to 50 million and possibly as high as 100 million, making it one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. In 2011, the world population reaches 7 billion inhabitants according to the United Nations. And a happy birthday to Peter Jackson, 59 today. Born in 1961, he went on to become one of the most famous movie directors and producers of all time, known mostly for his epic Lord of the Rings trilogy. Today also marks the passing of Sean Connery, who died aged 90 in 2020. Famous for a number of movies, but most well known for playing 007 James Bond. Was he the best James Bond? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And that concludes this week's historical roundup. If there are any events that you're interested in finding out more about, please do let me know and I will do a dedicated video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next video. But before you go, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified of the next installment. Thank you and I'll see you on the next video.